Selling players isn't easy. There's always the worry that they'll go on to bigger and better things and you'll rue the day you left your club. So here is one player each Premier League club sold too early. Arsenal's Serge Gnabry. The German winger barely got a chance at Arsenal, making just 10 Premier League appearances before he was shipped off to Germany for £5 million. Gnabry excelled at Werder Bremen, scoring 11 goals in his first season. Then after just a year he was on the move again, joining European giants Bayern Munich. He's now a key player at the Allianz Arena with a sublime dribbling ability, and Arsenal must watch on thinking how on earth did this happen. Aston Villa Gary Cahill. The former England defender is available for nothing this summer, so maybe Aston Villa should bring Gary Cahill back. The centre-back started his senior career at Villa Park, but he didn't stay long, being allowed to join Bolton Wanderers in 2008 in what was a pretty sideways move. Cahill quickly showed Villa what they were missing, eventually earning a move to Chelsea where he filled his trophy cabinet with trophies. Bournemouth Danny Ings. The striker started his senior career at Bournemouth, scoring 7 League One goals in the 2010-11 season. And that was enough to earn him a move up to the Championship with Burnley that summer, following Eddie Howe to Turf Moor. Howe would soon leave Burnley though, and it didn't take Bournemouth too long to reach the Championship and ultimately the Premier League. They might have done it even quicker had Ings stayed in to fire the goals. Brighton Gareth Barry. This was a long time ago, way back in 1997, but considering Gareth Barry is still going, it's worth mentioning. The midfielder was with the Seagulls as a kid, but before he turned professional, Aston Villa swooped in, signing him and Michael Standing for £2.4 million. While Barry went on to captain Villa, play for England and win the Premier League title with Man City, the other lad Michael Standing never even made a first team appearance for Villa and retired in 2012. Burnley Junior Stanislas. Okay, technically Stanislas wasn't sold by Burnley, he left at the end of his contract, but he still could have had a longer future at Turf Moor. Stanislas helped the Clarets win promotion at the Premier League in 2014, but didn't get the chance to play there, instead staying in the Championship to link back up with Eddie Howe at Bournemouth. The Cherries soon won promotion themselves, where Stanislas proved he had the quality to play in the Premier League, which surely angered some of the Burnley faithful. Chelsea Kevin De Bruyne. Now one of the best midfielders in the world, we don't need to keep going on about the mistake Chelsea made with Kevin De Bruyne. Arriving from Genk, the Belgian got limited opportunities at Stamford Bridge, heading to Germany after 2 years, where De Bruyne became the main man and a midfield maestro, to the eventual benefit of Manchester City. Crystal Palace Glen Murray. This might sound weird considering Glen Murray is quite the veteran nowadays, and he wasn't young at Palace, but hear me out. The Eagles have struggled for goals over the last few years, while Murray has gotten better with age like a fine wine, scoring a ton of goals for Brighton, maybe suggesting that Palace should have waited around to see what he could do in the Premier League for them. Everton Gerard Deulofeu. This wasn't Everton's fault as Barcelona had a buyback clause, but he still left Goodison Park too soon. The Spaniard showed flashes of talent at Everton, but was inconsistent. However, his game has improved massively over the past 12 months, helping Watford to a strong season last time out where they reached the FA Cup final. Leicester City N'Golo Kante. The French midfielder spent one season at Leicester, but what a season it was. Kante was a key player in Leicester's title win, forming an excellent partnership with Danny Drinkwater. But his good form saw him head to Chelsea to win another title, while Leicester were unable to find a replacement and were never going to be able to replicate their success. Liverpool's Javi Alonso. Simply one of the coolest men in football, Liverpool had the world in their hands when they had a midfield of him, Steven Gerrard and Javier Mascherano. It had it all. But after 5 years at Anfield, Alonso was sold to Real Madrid for £30 million, even though he didn't want to go. Alonso did leave though, and Liverpool failed to replace him as they distanced themselves from the Premier League title race for years. Manchester City Jadon Sancho. City haven't done a lot wrong in recent years, but letting Jadon Sancho go to Germany is one of them. The young winger went to Dortmund in 2017 for £8 million, in 2 years on he's probably worth 10 times that much, such has been his impact in the Bundesliga. City's attack is amazing, but it would have been so much better had Sancho not been let go. Manchester United Johnny Evans. The Man United defence hasn't been solid for years, making the fact they sold Johnny Evans even more baffling. The Northern Irish defender is solid if unspectacular, but was allowed to leave Old Trafford in 2015, while the likes of Chris Smalling and Phil Jones remained. And over the years, Evans has proved that he should have stayed at the club, with the likes of Arsenal and Man City trying to sign him, such were his performances for West Brom. Newcastle United Florian Thauvin. To think Newcastle had a future World Cup winner in the ranks and they let him go. Florian Thauvin wasn't a hit at St James's Park, but he didn't get much of a chance. The writing was pretty much on the wall as soon as he turned up in that tuxedo. After 6 months he was on the move, and Thauvin is reborn at Marseille, doing so well he got himself in the France World Cup squad and he's now got a World Cup winners medal. As for Newcastle, they've got Christian Atsu. Norwich City, James Madison. This wasn't really Norwich's fault as they got a lot of money from Madison last summer, but just imagine if he'd stayed. The Canaries won promotion back to the Premier League last time out, and they'd have a much better chance of staying there if they still had James Madison. Sheffield United, Che Adams. The Blades are looking for extra firepower ahead of the Premier League campaign, so knowing they used to have Che Adams on the books is probably hard to stomach. Back then he wasn't a striker, scoring 11 League One goals for Sheffield United before heading to Birmingham in 2016. Now he's a £15 million player with Southampton, set to embark on his first ever Premier League season. Southampton, Callum Chambers. The Saints have sold a lot of their youngsters with varying degrees of success, and one of the more negative sales has to be Callum Chambers. The defender/midfielder hasn't had it all his own way since he moved to Arsenal in 2014 for £16 million. At that time he hadn't really played enough games for Southampton, so maybe they should have held on to him for a bit longer. Tottenham, Gylfi Sigurdsson. The midfielder is one of the best players outside the top 6, but he did in fact used to be in that top 6. He used to be with Spurs under Andrea Villas-Boas, but Sigurdsson never truly settled at White Hart Lane. He was never the main man, and after 2 seasons he returned to Swansea, where he got back to his best, earning a huge move to Everton. Tottenham arguably don't need him, but they could have stuck with him a bit longer to unlock a bit more of his talent. Watford, Jadon Sancho. Yeah, Man City weren't the first team to sell Jadon Sancho too soon. The winger was with Watford first, but at the age of 14 he headed to City for 500 grand. Obviously Watford probably didn't fully know what they had back then, but it must irk them a little bit to know that they never get a mention when people talk about Sancho's past. West Ham United, Dimitri Payet. This is another one that isn't the club's fault, as Payet wanted to leave, but he was West Ham's talisman and he just took the piss out of them, which is a common theme at the Hammers. Payet only lasted 18 months at West Ham, which is a damn shame. Just imagine how good they could have been if he'd had the chance to link up with the likes of Felipe Anderson and Pablo Fornals. And finally Wolves, Andrew Sermon. Okay, this was a struggle, I'm not going to lie. But yeah, Andrew Sermon's a decent midfielder, but he didn't get much of a chance to show that at Wolves. He was sold after just 1 year, but after his renaissance at Bournemouth, Sermon has shown that Wolves have made a slight mistake. But then again, they probably don't care since they got Ruben Neves and João Moutinho. So that's one player each Premier League club sold too soon. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Thanks for watching and don't forget to like, share and subscribe.